I should start from the beginning. This is me. I'm Jessica. I'm the digital marketing evangelist at Umfluence because we get to make up our own titles. So what that means is basically I get to play online all day and somebody pays me to do it better than other people. I am mostly in love with email marketing, but social media has become a pretty big part of that. So while this presentation is mostly on email and does talk about its benefits against social media, I'm also completely in love with my Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I haven't gotten into Snapchat, sorry. But I love sort of the digital world. So if you have questions, I hope you guys will stick around and ask. But if you don't think of your question until tomorrow or next year, you can always find me at the email address or the Twitter handles here. Umfluence is my company. That's run by me. And then Best of Jess is me personally. You can ask either way. So admittedly, when I tell people that I work in email marketing, one of the first things they say to me is, do people still work in email marketing? Yeah, a lot of people. Even in a social media world, people still do email marketing. Yeah, because it makes money. So that's where I thought I'd start. This I blatantly stole from somebody else. Kissmetrics is a website that mostly focuses on third-party research and good content. And they had this metaphor, and so this picture is sort of drawn up to fit the metaphor. If all of the email marketing volume in one day were equivalent to a cup of rice, by comparison, Facebook is 10 grains. All posts on Facebook are 10 grains of rice. Twitter's 4, the 4 little dark grains in the corner there. And honestly, I like this metaphor for a couple of other reasons. One, what's your name in the front row? Elizabeth. Let's say Elizabeth goes to a restaurant. I'm serving her rice because she ordered rice. It's the flavor that she wants. It's the amount that she wants. If she doesn't eat all of it, I can remember that she didn't finish her bowl, and next time I can offer her a half bowl. There are so many metaphors that fit there, right? The idea that I can tailor the product that I'm sending. I'm not going to send it to her for breakfast. She came in for lunch, right? Facebook's a little bit different. Facebook's more like, there's rice on the table. Does anybody want some rice? Right? And Twitter, I actually have a better metaphor for Twitter. Twitter's like when you throw rice up in the air and it goes everywhere, and some of it lands in people, and most of it lands on the ground and the birds eat it. That's Twitter. That's why I have to say that I love social media, because I pick on social media a little bit with this presentation. But in reality, this metaphor has a lot of legs. It has a lot of meaning for me in the differences between email and its sort of cousin or brother, social media. One, I can send you email at the time that it absolutely makes sense for you. You're more likely to open it at that time, or you're more likely to shop in August for Christmas than you are September or November. Maybe you're more likely to shop December 23rd for Christmas, and that's one of the things that I can learn about you and send to you at that time. It's also customizable. Because the email is coming from me to you, right? It's Elizabeth's email, so I'm going to sell her or share with her the content that makes the most sense for her. If she's really into ponies, she's laughing in my face right now. If she's into ponies, then I'm going to sell her things that are relevant to pony-loving, front-row-sitting ladies that are also students, right? I can customize that. And actually, I can send everyone in here an email that's got the same basic structure, but that sells different products or goes at a different time. So we'll talk a lot about that today. I can also track individual recipient results. So if maybe you like ponies, but maybe I try to sell you, I'm running out of creative ideas here. Maybe I try to sell you tacos, and I'm trying to determine if that works or not. Or let's go back to the rice idea, right? If you didn't finish the whole bowl of rice, I can track that because it was your bowl of rice. And then next time, maybe I'll offer you the half size, right? So I'm customizing what I send the next time too based on that. And I can actually automate all of that. So if you eat lunch at 11, then guess what time I'm going to send my email tomorrow? Ooh, who said that? I like it. Why 10:30 and not 11? I just said 11. She's in the process of deciding. I love it. You're thinking already. So I love that you guys are like after lunch and coming up with like all the good thinking flowing juices. So And it all can be automated. That's the big piece of email marketing. Not only can I make this 100 different versions with a couple of small tweaks to how I make the email, I can do it in an automated way so that if I make it today, it'll happen next month. Brilliant, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about that too. The last point for me in the difference between email and social media is email gets read, right? So at the average email campaign, if you send out an email to 100,000 people, let's say, an on average open rate is between 25 and 30%, or 25,000 to 30,000 people of those will open the email. And then, 3 to 5% will click, something like that. Social media statistics are not quite that. So I will be kind when I say that typically social media is closer to 10%, and I'll give you some examples. One of the statistics that I've heard that I really like, but is about a year old, and I'd like to see what the new numbers are. If you tweet something, how many of you are on Twitter? Super. If you tweet something 7 days in a row, every day for a week, approximately 10% of your own followers will see that content. That makes sense, right? Twitter's the fire hose. You just sign on and see what's happening while you're on, and then you sign off, right? By comparison, Facebook released their own numbers. Your audience, every time you put out a post, about 3 years ago, 16% of your audience would see an individual post. They're not signed on at the right time. The Facebook algorithm has a certain affinity for you or not, right? 3 years ago, the number was 16%, excuse me. 2 years ago, the number was 12%. Last year, the number was 6%. Anybody want to guess why they didn't release a number this year, besides the fact that it's January? The number's not going up. Now, in fairness, Facebook has always been free to deliver your message, and email never has. Right? You pay money to put a stamp on an email. You pay a volume fee, usually. Social media, tweeting is still free. Promoting that tweet to make sure that your audience sees it is not. Or creating an advertisement so that even your own followers on Facebook, your own fans on Facebook, see your content is no longer free. So I will concede that point. I understand that it's not apples to apples. So I will say some of my favorite things on the planet are numbers and analytics, but I promise to only do this for the first couple of slides. And I promise you that by the third slide, you will definitely care. So the first one, I like any list where email marketing is at the top, but particularly this one. The preferred channel for sourcing high-value leads. The leads that make dollars, right? Those that buy the most, those that buy the most often or buy again. High-value leads. The number one channel is what? I'm just checking to see if you're awake at this point. Email, thank you. But email, like it's 2015 email, it's dying, right? It's decreasing, right?
I don't think so.
Thank you. What's your name? Chris says, I don't think so. Chris, what would give you that idea? What would give you that idea?
I'm going to say the big chart on the wall.
The big chart on the wall that says last year, 2013, it was at 54% of all marketers thought this was important. Now 57% of all marketers think this is important. It's not dying. For high-value leads, I mean, think about the way that you classify your marketing. We think this one probably kind of works. High-value leads, we're saying this is an important metric, right? So not only is it not dying, it's still at the top of the darn list. I will point out that a couple of our friends or brothers here are breathing down our neck. Search engine optimization and pay-per-click, which I cannot figure out why those are linked together in one line. Not that far behind us. And social media, the 7% jump being number 3 right behind that, right? So it's not a kingdom forever, but boy, it's still nice to be on top of that list. So, and rising. So this is the other thing that I'll point out, especially pertinent when you're talking about business planning or market planning, is the colors don't come out as well on this, but the difference between who values email marketing or who values what channel based on the size of their company. And the best example that I can tell you from this is you can see that the breaking point kind of is the $100,000 or $1 million in revenue a year mark. So the story is, let's say you're a small business owner and you're the owner and the marketer and the check payer, and you're kind of everything, right? Social media is easier. It just is, right? If I want to go and post something on Facebook, I didn't have to take a class to do that, thankfully. In fact, one of my friends owns I think there are 2 shops now, pet stores in Columbia, Missouri, and her personal Facebook feed is some of the best marketing she gets. And not to say that a Facebook page wouldn't be great too, but her personal friend base, rather, sees every time, why would you post something on Facebook about we got this new product in when she personally is going to take an Instagram picture talking how excited she is about it, and all of her friends that follow her personally are going to see that. That makes sense, right? But as soon as you get up to something that needs to scale, as soon as your business owner isn't your whole persona, your whole brand, it becomes more important to do something that's scalable, something that talks to your customers, somebody that buys from you that might buy again. So you can see organic search is in there too, but the number one, once you're above 1 million, the number one source here is still email. Of course, I'm biased, so these are the kind of graphs that I put in here, but it's based on research, so it's true. This third slide here is not the key third slide, it's just my third analytics slide. The other question that I get is this still something that all age groups use? Does anybody open their emails anymore? Let me ask you that question. Sometimes I get this question, and I'm like, pretty sure you asked me that question over email. How many of you have not opened an email today? You're fired. You're fine, he's fired. Really, but is it going to be, by the end of the day, are you going to open 0 emails today? He's like, yeah, I've decided I've quit email. Cool. So he's my exception. Love that. The truth is, it's just not that. It's not the case. And what research? Not this guy, but what's your name? Mike is going to let me pick on him the rest of the presentation. That's what we've just agreed to. Other than Mike, what research shows is that 77% of the U.S. population of U.S. consumers prefer to get permission-based communications by email. If you're going to sign up for an offer, where do you sign up for an offer? Let's say you go, right. So you go to Target and they say, we're going to give you a 40% off coupon if you sign up for offers from us. What are you most likely to give them? Be honest. Yeah, it's email, right? Would you like to give me your phone number? I'll text message you deals. No. I just got a no. No, because why? That's good. They're counting on that. They're counting on that number getting bigger. There's a 95% read rate on your text messages because it just buzzed your person. Like, you have to look at it, otherwise you have to have that ugly notification thing, right? In email, it's there. I'll get to it. It's going to be in the list of things that I look at when I'm ready, right? It's just a different, so permission-based marketing messages, the number one channel preferred is still email. Even for millennials. The same report noticed that there was not a dip in that number between age demographics. The number on the right is that email generates nearly twice the return on investment of other channels. I would stake a claim that that is actually a low number. 2 years ago, the Direct Marketing Association found that on average, for every $1 you invest in email marketing, $28 is coming back your way in return on investment, revenue, resources, et cetera. 28. So, how many of you have had a return on investment on a campaign yet? Okay, let me just give you like a heads up. 2,800% return on investment is not real life. No matter what you're investing in. So let's say I give Elizabeth $1. Elizabeth, right? Oh my God, I got your name wrong. Bad personalization. I give Elizabeth $1 and she's gonna give me $28 back. How many of my dollars am I gonna give to Elizabeth? Everything I have. Are you kidding me? So $28 is about 5 times what the return on investment for most channels is. So, all right, you're sold. Oh, wait. Oh, and this is people who have actually made money on it. This is the one I skipped over last time. This is, hey, can you guys keep a secret? Don't tweet this. This is the roastery's actual revenue per email they send. It costs them about $150 to send. They have a very sizable list. It costs them about $150 to send every time they send, and they're making double, not quite double, holy moly, 6 times, right? So the value of those email addresses, the value of email as a channel is very easy to explain for them because even though they're just sending a newsletter, they're still making cash back. The one on the right, 40% off everything. I love these. I will admit, Some of these images that I put in here are just because they're the cutest babies you're ever going to see all day. But Hallmark Baby is one of Influence's clients. They use us both to send their email, the influence marketing platform, and to strategize their email. 40% off everything now through the holidays. We had an excellent holiday season like we always do. Before the holidays, 53% of Hallmark Baby's revenue, 53% of Hallmark Baby's revenue can be attributed to an email. Half of their company's revenue. Again, just if you knew the secret, if you knew that that was true, why wouldn't you just throw dollars in? So now you're sold. Okay, now you're sold. This is the slide I forewarned you about. So students, how many of you want a job? Ever in your whole life? There you go. How many of you want a job that pays $77,000 a year? All right, there it is. So I looked this up on Glassdoor, and they didn't have a Kansas City number. They don't do it if the sample size is too small, but of somebody that specifically calls their position an email marketing manager, not a director, not a, like these are the people that log in and press the buttons, right? $77,000 was the average salary for somebody in this position. In fact, if you named a Fortune 500 company, I bet they're hiring in email marketing. They just don't teach this in undergrad. Like when Pamela approached me, this has been 2-3 years ago? 2.5 years ago, when she approached me, I think we couldn't decide who was on the soapbox more. Like, we need to be, I have to hire people that know the fear, the clammy, sickening fear that comes over a person when they have to hit the send button to a couple 100,000 people. And if you haven't had the oops moment, just had one this week and I'm sweating a little talking about it. I know, don't talk about it. If you haven't had that power and that oops, if you haven't seen the return on investment and the 5 people that think they're the first person to tell you that your email was wrong, if you haven't experienced that, it's a lot harder to hire for that position because I know I'm starting from scratch. And it's not just Influence, it's Digital Evolution Group and VML. That's just to talk about the agencies in town. Almost no brand side marketers have somebody that does this in-house that didn't learn it on the fly. So that's why the program, that's why we're here, and that number is why you guys care, right? This isn't a starting salary, but I'm pretty sure that the number of years of experience for that Sephora job is 2. So you're not that far off. If you have 2 years experience sending email and making Sephora money, you can pick your job. All right, soapbox over. All right, there you go. You guys are sold. Now how do we do it? This is the sneak peek, right? This is when we start talking a little bit about what it's like to get into the strategy of email marketing. And great email marketing in 2015, more cute babies. Hallmark Baby, obviously, like I said, is one of our clients. This email is a good demonstration, a good non-creepy demonstration of segmentation. So on the right-hand side, you can see some of the information that Hallmark knows about its customers. I know that you bought a baby's first ornament in fall of 2014. How old is your baby? Right? So Hallmark knows this, right? They know where they're, maybe it's your grandbaby, so we're trying to figure out if we can estimate your age and whether you have a son or grandson, a daughter or granddaughter, we can tailor at least the image in this offer to you. Notice that nothing in this image says for your son or for your grandson, right? Does anybody know the Target story, the Target teenager dad story? So, stop me if you've heard this one. Target sends a teenager, 16, one of their direct mail pieces for diapers and prenatal vitamins or something. And the dad is livid, like, bad targeting, what, are you trying to get my 16-year-old pregnant? Are you insane? Yells at the manager of the Target, like the manager at Target had anything to do with it. And I mean, just 2 months later, dad has to call the manager at Target back and apologize because Target figured out through the daughter's purchases that she was pregnant before dad did. Oh yeah, not how you want to find out about your daughter being pregnant. And data can be creepy, right? This is delightfully uncreepy. You might have a child in your life that might happen to be of this age, that might happen to be a boy, that might happen. So it's still using something that's targeted to you without saying, I can tell that you're wearing a red cap right now, because it gets a little bit creepy in that case. So segmentation, especially when you've got the data. Oh, and by the way, social can't do that. One Facebook page. Just saying. All right, so the other way that we're going to use data, and data is a big part of email marketing, and especially, so Pamela and I actually know each other partially through the KCDMA, the Direct Marketing Association. Anything that's data-driven from me to you, targeted to you, and oh, by the way, I'm going to track it and see if it works. That's direct marketing. But this is another way that we can use that. Not only are we tailoring that image to you based on who we think you have at home, but we're actually using your variable data in the email. Right? What's your name? Greg. Greg is a Kansas City sports fan, and maybe his favorite Boulevard beer is the KC Pils. So in Boulevard's newsletter, all of which is standard copy, they always have this dedicated spot right here that pulls in your favorite beer. If you've told them, there's a default if you haven't, but if you've told them what your favorite beer is, they have a beer locator tell you where your favorite beer is. Oh, I love this stuff. Right, because first of all, if you're beer, how much more fun is it to sell beer anyway? But it's just this subtle thing. And it says your favorite beer, click to find near you, right? This is actually an example from the coursework that we'll teach in the fall. So this is Save the Puppies Isn't Real, sorry. But it is part of our coursework. And the idea here is, Dear Jessica, Dear Dave. Okay, got it. Personalization. I used your name. Dear Jessica, first of all, I want to thank you and all of our donors in Kansas City, Chicago, Topeka, right? I can use some variable data there, to help save puppies across the country. Your gift of $45 or $25. So I give less than Dave. Dave gives $45, I give $25. This is still fake, by the way. Nobody has given any money. But $45 from Dave has gone to help buy kennels for the puppies. $25 donation has gone to help buy food, special puppy chow for the puppies. So now we're not just using first name or how much you gave, we're actually saying your gift, based on how large that gift is, impacted a different area of our nonprofit. So this image and this whole paragraph of copy is all variable, a block of variable content that's attached to that contact record so that when they get this email, they see something that they personally helped contribute to do. The other sort of fun bit, even if you're not getting into the bigger levels of swapped out content, did you know that if you gave just $55 more a year, you'd be part of our Puppy Pals Club? Or in this case, did you know that if you gave just $75 more a year? So that's your stretch ask, right? Especially in retail. Did you know that thank you for buying 2 thingamajiggies. Did you know that if you bought 3 more thingamajiggies, you could save 20%? Right, that's your stretch ask. Just using small bits of inline text variable data can be really powerful in this case, especially because you have the offer, you're just making it more relevant to that person. If you buy 5, save 20%. Well, you've bought 2, so did you know that if you buy 3 more, right, you're making it more relevant to that person. So they don't have to do the math. You can do the math for them. All right, so now accessibility. This is one that we'll probably touch on quite a bit as well. There are 2 kinds of accessibility. 1, images, and 2, mobile. 1, the email in front of you is probably very important. Probably. 25 to 33% of your audience will have images turned off by default, and that includes some versions of Outlook and Android. I made that beautiful email, and you can't see anything? In addition to the fact that because IKEA has to use like the best of the creative, these images are so high resolution that the file size is big, and it took almost a full 30 seconds for this email to load. How long do you think people give email before they delete it? Not 30, about less than 10 seconds. Not 30. 30 is more than 10. So you're hosed because you sent that. Right? And this is IKEA, right? These are smart marketers. This is just one of those things that isn't taught in the industry. So a better example would be Social Media Club of Kansas City, who, full disclosure, is a client, and they do what we say, but they're still really smart, and they do a balance of images and text. Not only does this text help you get past spam filters, this email being blank doesn't say anything. Spam filters are like, oh, you're probably selling Rolex watches in Russian. They don't know what you're saying, so they assume you're trying to trick them. In this case, all of this content is actually legible by a spam filter and by your humans that read your email. And my favorite thing, the bulletproof button. This Register Now button is not actually an image. It's just a table, a 1 column by 1 row table that's got a background color. And we've changed the link to not have an underline on it. So when you click on that Register Now button, whether images are turned on or images are turned off, you can still see the call to action in your email. Register now, buy now, save now, right? And because it's text, we can use variable data. Buy 3 more whatchamacallits and save 20%, right? So this is not only just really fun to be able to say that we can do, like I've beat the system. My call to action button can be a button and it can be on with images turned off. It also, I've seen this increase response revenue by 50%. So the number of people who clicked through on this went up 50% in an A/B split test where one was an image and one was the text. So, okay, so then accessibility part deux. The mobile side of email marketing has been sort of the battle cry for about 1.5 years. In the fall of 2013, excuse me, every blog in email marketing started to say, well, mobile's the thing now, you know, desktop's gonna die, and all of your emails should just look like the one on the right. You should just design for mobile first. First of all, if 50% of your audience is opening on mobile, you still probably shouldn't design for mobile first because that looks really stupid on a computer. Second of all, what we found was when we looked at actual results in the fall of 2013, it wasn't an 80, it wasn't a 50-50 split, it was more like a 40-60 split, right? So 40% were mobile, 60% were desktop. And as I redid these numbers this year, it turns out that business to consumer is approaching 50%, no matter the business size. That was the other thing was, you know, fall of 2013, the people that had a 50% open rate were like the Gap. That is awesome and not applicable if you are my friend Jessica's pet store in Columbia, Missouri with a completely different demographic, right? So, excuse me, the business to consumer side did finally hit for most companies the 50-50 mark. What's business to business like? If you're selling business to business, is it more or less mobile than business to consumer? Much more desktop. How much more? Throw it out.
I'd say 75-25.
Not bad. More like 80-20. Our own email newsletters, the MSites monthly newsletter, which you guys should all sign up for because we say really smart things about email marketing. The MSites newsletter is still more like 85-15, right? And as long as you're finding those results on your own readership, you at least have kind of a guiding light. Because I'll tell you, this over here is called responsive design. The idea that you've got a 2-column layout that's going to go to 1 column, left column, right column. And notice that even though the news release and John Deere would normally go left to right, they've actually flip-flopped those so that John Deere can be full-sized here and news release goes underneath it, right? So that's responsive design. What's the decision look like when you go, you know, if you start squeezing the width of your email? That takes time. And if you want $28 for every $1 you invest in email marketing, you're investing more $1s to make it responsive. So you better be getting more than $28 back, right? So you want to make sure that you're getting a return on the investment of time that it takes to make a responsive email. Oh, quick to digest. I will admit that anything that I say here, I've learned from the kind of long time that I've been doing email marketing. And somebody will just always prove me wrong. So first the thing and then the proven wrong thing. This is the whole email for a Hallmark baby. 1 main hero image, shop now, and a social nugget. Right, that's the whole email. There's nothing else to scroll down and see. This is actually one of my favorite setups. This is the American Advertising Federation's newsletter. It goes and grabs the last 5 blog posts. It takes her less than 15 minutes to make this email. And all she's doing is checking to make sure that the blurb doesn't cut off at a weird place or doesn't spell something wrong or is sassy enough, enticing enough that it's going to get somebody to click through, right? It also goes and gets the next 5 upcoming events. How easy is this newsletter? Especially when you're the executive director, the one employee for an organization that has 5,000 members. she's got other things she's got to do, so this email gets out pretty quick. But that's it, right? 150 words per article, a snippet, something to entice me to read the rest of it, hopefully a good headline and maybe a good image. So quick to digest. Now, the prove me wrong part. And I admit this in front of most of my audiences, so that's fine. How many of you subscribe to the Roasteries newsletter? Oh, good, we have some in this class. That's good. The Roastery, Kansas City-based company, and their CEO, Danny O'Neill, send out two kinds of emails. They send out a newsletter or a sales email about once a week, right? Pretty regularly. And then once a month, once a quarter, whenever Danny gets it in his head to do it, Danny will sit down and write the family Christmas letter, like what's going on at the Roastery, and sign it with his name. And it is 5 pages long if you print it. And I am baffled that this format works for them, but because Danny is so present in the Kansas City community, it does. Now, they haven't tested doing a 2-page letter versus a 5-page letter, and still signing it from Danny, but that's what he wants to get out. That's what he wants to share with his community. So, okay, you test it, you prove me wrong, I'll put it in my presentation. Speaking of proving me wrong, what do I hate about this email? With the cupcake. What do I hate about this, other than it being orange, which is a perfectly acceptable color, I suppose? What do I hate about this email? Yes, but I'm going to come back. That's what's on the slide. What did you say? It's one big image. They did not listen to me. I gave them the full workout. Like, one big image, 25 to 30% of your audience isn't going to get this image. So what did they add? You see this at the very top? Let's be Facebook friends. That was me. I can take credit for that. Great. So they send this email. It's a 2-email series. They sent 2 emails in 1 week and grew the brand new Hostess Facebook page from 0 to 60,000 likes. Okay, if you're Hostess, you can do that too. Otherwise, the one big image thing has got to go. And typically, because it was clever copy in the subject, clever copy in what we call the pre-header, that little text spot up top, and it's Hostess. Twinkie the Kid could be trying to give me a message right now. I mean, it's a little like Boulevard. It's this beloved brand, right? So, all right, that's fine. The email works. The other thing that really works with this campaign is this email is about going to Facebook, right? So this is to your point. I actually like that they've sent an entire campaign to their known advocates, their known email subscribers, and said, while you're at it, while you're in love with me, come visit me on Facebook, where you're also going to see exclusives, contests, and a new way to snack. Right? They delivered a value proposition and said, this is what you're going to get on Facebook in addition to subscribing to our emails. What do you usually see? How many clicks? How many clicks does it take? How many clicks does this Facebook nugget get in this email? Like over the course of a year? Still 0. I heard somebody say 0 the first time. 0 no matter what the time. Like there's no call to, we are marketers, right? There's no call to action here. There's no what's in it for me. So instead, Hillamore is actually pulling popular posts out of each of their channels and bringing it in. If I follow you and if I get your emails to my inbox, why would I go follow you on Facebook? Well, here's the sample post. Do you like what we have to say? Go like us on Facebook. Right? We're giving you a reason to go. So when you cross-promote, when you do it well, this can actually be very successful. But nuggets or no. I actually still leave them in our templates for our clients, the designs, because they're almost like the yellow pages. Like I'm trying to make that metaphor not break down in my head, but if somebody needs to know, I just got this really great email from Hostess and somebody needs to know how to @mention you on Twitter, don't make them find it, put it right there in your email, right? And as they hover over that or as they click through on that, they would have the link as reference. Multimedia. So this is appropriately juxtaposed to the last one because I think that social media's impact on email has been that it's multimedia. The motion of animation, for example, in the middle, helps draw the eye. Now, the caveat is it's been done really poorly in the past. So like the neon background and the dancing iPod silhouette, right? That's really an insurance commercial, and I'm sure that worked for like a week before everybody did not click on those. That's bad animation. It's not relevant, and it's mostly gimmicky. This type of animation can actually really help. So I'll go back. This is the two sides of the display. This is the company that sells displays like this. And that's the two sides of the display. It's relevant, right? In addition to drawing the eye, in addition to having some sort of motion. Plus it's Iron Man, you know, cool thing to sell. This one actually is Rush Wade is another Kansas City-based company, and they have a video editing, video production company, and they do a portfolio video every year. So this email, when delivered to an Outlook inbox, just has that play button over it. The play button means what? Click on me, I'm going to have a video for you, right? So there's sort of that understood language there. If you got this email in, for example, a Mac.com inbox or on an iPhone, this image becomes an animated GIF the way that this one was. And I know that the guy said you're supposed to say GIF, by the way. I'm not just saying it like wrong. Like I understand that he says that the right way to say it is GIF and I can't do it. So animated GIF on this one becomes a silent movie version of their video demo reel. It's useful, right? It's relevant. So anyway, I thought they did a nice job on that. There's a good blog post on influence.com of this campaign. Okay, so great email marketing in 2015 and beyond has to get through to the inbox. So this is the one that we missed in the last session, but the bummer, I don't know, the horrible, awful secret of email marketing is just because you send it into the world doesn't mean that it has to go anywhere. Like Yahoo's #1 priority is their inbox users, not you. And if they think you're spam, they'll send you to the junk folder or the spam folder for a while, and then they'll just stop. If not enough people think that you are not spam, they listen to their users, not you. And this is not a bounce, right? When you get a bounce back, this person's not at their desk or this person does not exist. This isn't a bounce, they're just not delivering you. And you never know. So, all right. Return Path estimates that about 15% of the mail in the US doesn't make it to the inbox. Oops, too many microphones. Doesn't make it to the inbox. 6% goes to junk, and then everything else goes missing. So again, if you have a volume-based model for your email marketing, you're sending to 100,000 people, but you're only getting to 85,000 people. How are you supposed to make money on the other 15,000 people? They didn't get your email, right? So getting into the inbox largely consists of your reputation. If people get on your list and they're like, I didn't sign up for this, this is spam. Okay, so a lot of it is how people get on your list. A lot of it is just being relevant, right? If you send good stuff to the people that want to get it, people don't mark you as spam, and they open your emails. Both of those things can help keep you out of the spam box. Also monitoring it, and we'll talk quite a bit more about that in length. Like that's a semester-long class probably, but we're going to keep it to an hour. Anyway, that'll be something that you guys will learn in the fall as well. Permission-based, so like I said, if you send something to somebody that they don't expect, they have the power of the spam button. So this is email marketing is the first time since high school that you should care about your reputation. Because if somebody calls you spam, for all intents and purposes, you're treated like it. It's a terrible way to live life, sorry. But there's something you can do about it. And permission-based marketing, asking people's permission to add them to your marketing list, or offering them value and letting them opt in to your marketing list is the best way to kind of keep that clean. So you can see the roasteries sign up positions here. This is the homepage of their website, and then they leave it in the sidebar when you're on a deeper page of their website. This is ours, so if you guys want to go to influence.com and sign up for our emails, you can. And then this is what we call re-permissioning. So again, and I have a slide at the end here, we'll probably not quite get to that in this session, but we can skip ahead. Of, let's say, the same list, right, 100,000 people on your list. If you've had that list for 3 years-ish, I would say 40% of those don't check that email address anymore, or you're not getting to them. So the statistics across the industry are that 40% of your list are bound to be inactive, meaning they haven't opened, clicked, spam buttoned. They have not interacted with your email in over 12 months. Okay, those people are not only costing you dollars, right, which we just talked about, but in this case, if those people aren't engaging, not only are they costing me money, but they're not positively engaging with my email, which makes it harder for me to get into the inbox, right? So it's this like, and I, by the way, so I work for an email platform that gets paid by volume, and I'm telling you to send less volume. That's how strongly I feel about this. This can be a really big thing. YRC Freight had a list that they hadn't sent to in about 12 months, and they needed to really make sure these people wanted to get email from them. You know, the company's got some branding things that they're going through this year anyway. This campaign was where we tried to help them connect with those people that still wanted to get logistics information from YRC. So, and then automation. Oh, wait, I like this example better. So, easiest example of automation, the welcome email. You signed up, you get a welcome email. Automation, it's not the Tuesday at 10 a.m. email, right? It goes out at some time that's relevant to that person. Come back and see what you're missing. So speaking of inactives, right? You haven't logged into your account in 9 months or a month. Come back and see what you're missing. Or this is one of my favorite campaigns. I think there's another one over here. Yeah, this was Community America Credit Union, another Kansas City company. They know that the honeymoon period for their new bank account holders is 90 days. That's the period they're most likely to get them to sign up for another account. Like, let's say you got a checking account, they're most likely to get a savings account within the first 90 days. So, insert automation. The next day after you sign up, you get an email. 2 weeks later, you get an email with answers to frequently asked questions, like, what's my routing number? 6 weeks later, you get an email. And all this content is placed based on when they're used to getting questions from their new account holders. So they can automate this email process, not only to cut down on inbound call volume, but also to preemptively be a provider of information and resources for their new customers. And then, of course, a little bit of variable data doesn't hurt either. If you have a checking account, the upsell is a savings account. If you have a CID, the upsell is, so they actually figure out what you're most likely to buy with that, and then you get a variable ad based on that offer. So, all right, so that's it, right? Psh, we're all pros. Great email marketing does all of the things we just talked about, and what? Sells things. But in 2014, in 2015, and beyond, email marketing is still marketing. And in this world, in this generation, that means telling stories. Right? That's what we do. In marketing, that's what we do. We're communicating the value of our product, the expertise that our team has, and the benefit that we have over our competitors by telling stories. That's what I do all day. I tell stories. See how it worked for this person and didn't work for this person. So that is the base of how we start content marketing these days. This is an example of Muriel. You would think this would be like, you know, we have some really great clients that are really easy to sell products, and we have some other kinds of clients. And this is more the type of client that sometimes you're wondering what the heck you're going to say in this month's newsletter. This is an equine ulcer guard for horses with ulcers. So content for this can be tricky. Instead, we're doing a focus on a sales specialist. This is the person that sells you your product, right? We're personalizing, or we're humanizing, or we're telling you who Lindsay really is. I thought that was a really excellent example. That's one that's done by SHS, another agency in town. They use the Influence platform to send. And then Danny's. Danny's 5-page long. Notice how I had to cut it up there. Time to close, he says, and then he signs it, Danny O'Neill, the Bean Baron. So he's telling stories. He's telling you who they really are. So I'll give you guys a little bit of a behind the scenes if you'd be interested in it. This is some of the metrics and stuff that we'll probably dig into a lot next semester. And I know that there's some faculty in the room as well. I think this was one of the things we wanted to maybe put on the discussion list as we wrap up here. Some of the things that are available in the email world that haven't always been, the type of things that we can look for. So first, the basics. Sounds like you're doing some email marketing. So Chris already has a little bit of exposure with, we kind of want them to reply. Are they even getting it, right? So do you have the opens and engagement data?
No.
So free information from me to you. Using any sort of an email platform, even if you're sending to like a smaller group of people, helps you get a little bit of insight into that, the open rates, click-through rates. Then if nobody's opening them, it becomes a question of if they're getting them. You know, that can be something that you can talk about as well. typical things that you're going to get from every email platform out there. The goods, views, clicks. I actually prefer clicks to views. I feel like a click-through rate is, benchmark click-through rate is really misleading, like a 3 to 5%. If you have 10 links or 0 links, all these other factors come into it, but the big one is, if your open rate is 10%, your click-through rate is not going to be 3%, right? That's such a relevant number to bring in. So clicks to views, of those who viewed the email, of those who opened the email, how many of those clicked? And that number tends to be closer to the 15% range. So the standard metrics here, there's also kind of the evil metrics, like who unsubscribed, because I always want to know that person. Like, I need to know that you unsubscribed from my email so that I can be rude to you next time we hang out. Or, more likely, so that I can give you a call and ask if there's something else that we can be doing for you. Opt-outs, unsubscribes, I use those interchangeably. And then complaints. When people complain I am spam, it legitimately ruins my day. Most valid email marketers will have some complaints, but it's because not everybody knows that it's different than the unsubscribe button. Make it easy for people to unsubscribe, and hopefully those people will stay off your list. Not only can we see how many clicks, oh no, we can get much creepier. This is who's clicked, exactly what time they clicked, how many times they clicked, what links they clicked on. I can download a list of everybody that went to the voting page and send them a follow-up that says, anybody who voted, anybody who gave us their feedback can do X, Y, and Z for 20% off. Next event is 20% off. Well, guess what? I'm also selling the next event. What do I care if I give them 20% off, right? I want you to go. So this makes great remarketing fodder. This is where it gets, like, I just get this is such juicy stuff to me. The domain level report, and you're in a business to consumer send, these top 4 are always going to be in the top 4 in some array, right? Younger audiences, we see that the Gmail floats to the top. Older audiences, we see AOL float to the top. But those 4 big ones will always be the big ones, right? Not only can we see the open rates broken down by those inboxes, I can tell that 22% of my audience uses Yahoo. What's the importance of that? If I know that I have 20% of my audience using yahoo.com, and my email, if I am proofing it, doesn't look good in Yahoo, I care. Right, so we'll talk a lot about that too. This is the one that we kind of got into in the last session. All right, so this is their domain, but where are they opening it? Is it on their phone, their iPhone, Android phone? Is it on their desktop device? Is it this unknown percentage? Kind of drives me crazy. The unknown, Gmail. Okay, so this is one that, once you're in the industry, you just assume that the unknown is the Gmail image proxy, because Gmail changed the way that they do emails. On one hand, they automatically load images, which means, yay, all of our images are on. On the other hand, it does, the way that they're storing images means that they don't report back to us whether that person was on a mobile phone or a desktop. It doesn't look any different to us, unfortunately. So, but this is that 50-50 kind of spread that we're looking at for a business to consumer client. And then this is that one that I sort of alluded to earlier, which is which contacts have been inactive over the last 12 months. Go target this 40% of people and ask them what you could be doing better. Are you still at this email address, or do we need new contact information for you? Is it that you don't like us anymore? Because that's okay. We'll let you unsubscribe. You know why? You cost me money. We actually did this with Hostess. And again, Hostess is a fun brand. So Twinkie the Kid, I miss you, is it something I said? It was just a charming campaign, right? And they ended up reactivating a good 5 or 7%, I think, of their audience. But that's it. Out of 37%, if you're only reactivating 7%, you're cleaning up 30% of your audience that just costs you money to send to, that you're not going to get anything back from. So you don't have to take them off your list. This is kind of a controversial suggestion in the industry, but if you put them aside and then only send them that campaign that always wows people, like your holiday campaign or your 75% off discount campaign or something that really gets people's attention, but don't send to them every time. They cost you a lot.